Nobody expected a tennis player to bring an entire shopping mall to a standstill. But on July 15, 2026, that's exactly what happened. Long before the event even began, thousands of Filipinos had already filled every level of Glorieta Activity Center in Makati. Escalators overflowed with people. Balconies disappeared behind walls of waving flags. Phones were raised high into the air, all waiting for one person to appear. Kids wearing tennis jerseys stood beside grandparents who had never watched a Grand Slam a year earlier. It didn't feel like a simple fan meet. It felt like the entire country had come together for a championship celebration. But the biggest surprise wasn't the size of the crowd. It was how quickly everything had changed. Just months earlier, many of these same people barely knew who Alex Eala was. Now they were treating her like one of the nation's greatest sporting heroes. The obvious question was, what happened in such a short time? Because stories like this don't happen overnight. And once you see everything that led to this moment, you'll understand why this wasn't just another public appearance. It was the emotional ending to one of the most extraordinary months in Philippine sports history. To understand why thousands packed a mall just to catch a glimpse of Alex, you have to rewind the calendar back to January. The Philippines was preparing for something it had never experienced before. The country's first ever WTA 125 tournament was set to take place at Rizal Memorial Sports Complex, and Alex was the headline attraction. It was already a historic moment for Philippine tennis. Fans were excited. Media coverage increased. Expectations were growing. But the atmosphere surrounding her back then was completely different. She was respected inside tennis circles, admired by loyal supporters, and recognized as one of the country's brightest talents. Yet beyond those dedicated fans, her name hadn't fully crossed into everyday Filipino households. She represented possibility more than certainty. People believed she could become something special someday. Almost nobody imagined that someday would arrive only a few months later. What happened next completely transformed the conversation. Wimbledon wasn't simply another tournament on the calendar. It was the tournament every tennis player dreams about from childhood. The oldest Grand Slam. The most prestigious stage in the sport. History waits there for only a handful of players, while everyone else leaves with another lesson in disappointment. Alex arrived carrying not only her own ambitions but also the hopes of an entire nation that had never witnessed a Filipino achieve what she was about to attempt. Before she even struck her first ball, history had already begun. She entered Wimbledon as the first Filipina ever to compete as a seeded player in a Grand Slam. That alone was enough to earn headlines back home. But nobody realized it was only the beginning. Her opening round victory over Renata Zarazua wasn't just another win. It made Alex the first Filipina ever to win a Wimbledon main draw singles match. One barrier disappeared, then another. The momentum kept building. She defeated Australia's Maya Joint, and suddenly people started paying attention outside the Philippines. Television commentators began mentioning her more often. International fans searched her name online. Yet even then, few believed her run would last much longer. Standing in her path was the defending Wimbledon champion, one of the world's elite players, someone almost every prediction expected to advance comfortably. On paper, the outcome looked obvious. Rankings favored the champion. Experience favored the champion. Expectations favored the champion. Alex was supposed to enjoy the experience, put up a respectable fight, and leave with valuable memories. That's how these stories usually end. Except this one refused to follow the script. What unfolded that day shocked the tennis world. Point after point, Alex refused to be intimidated. She matched one of the sport's biggest stars with fearless tennis, remarkable composure, and unwavering belief. As the pressure mounted, she looked calmer while her opponent grew more uncomfortable. Every game shifted the impossible a little closer to reality. Then the final point arrived. The defending Wimbledon champion had been eliminated by a 21-year-old Filipina. Across the Philippines, social media exploded within minutes. News alerts flooded phones. Families woke relatives in the middle of the night. Suddenly everyone wanted to know the same thing. Who exactly was Alex Eala? The victory instantly became more than a sporting upset. It became a national moment. People who had never watched tennis before were now learning tournament brackets and staying awake into the early hours just to follow her next match. Children began picking up rackets. Schools celebrated her achievements. Every interview she gave spread across social media faster than the previous one. It wasn't only because she won. It was because she represented something millions of Filipinos had quietly hoped for but rarely witnessed. Someone from their country standing confidently among the very best in the world. Her remarkable run eventually ended in the fourth round against Italy's Jasmine Paolini. But by then, the result almost didn't matter anymore. Alex had already gone further at Wimbledon than any Filipino in history. The tournament had permanently changed the direction of her career. Even more importantly, it had changed how an entire nation viewed the future of Philippine tennis. But the impact wasn't only emotional. The numbers told an equally incredible story. Her world ranking climbed toward a career high around number 28, placing her among the elite players on tour. Her Wimbledon performance earned approximately £300,000 in prize money. Combined with the impressive earnings she had already collected earlier in the 2026 season, her prize money approached well over $800,000 before Wimbledon even began, with the Grand Slam pushing that total dramatically higher. In the space of just 2 unforgettable weeks, Alex had gone from being one of tennis' most promising young stars to becoming one of its biggest breakout stories. But something even more meaningful was happening away from the courts. Most athletes celebrate breakthroughs behind closed doors. Private dinners, exclusive receptions, invitation-only events. Alex could easily have chosen that path. Nobody would have questioned it. Instead, she made a decision that perfectly reflected the person millions were beginning to admire. She wanted to celebrate with ordinary Filipinos. Not celebrities. Not only officials. Not sponsors alone. The people who stayed awake through the night to watch every point. The people who believed before the rest of the world noticed. And that single decision transformed her homecoming into something far greater than a promotional appearance. It became a national celebration. But before the unforgettable night at Glorieta, another scene had already revealed just how enormous her rise had become. The first sign came the moment Alex stepped off her flight at Ninoy Aquino International Airport on July 12th. Most athletes return home to a few family members, close friends, and perhaps a handful of reporters. Alex walked into something entirely different. Thousands of fans were already waiting long before her arrival. Every glimpse of her sparked cheers that echoed through the terminal. Philippine flags waved from every direction. Phones captured every smile, every wave, every step she took. It wasn't organized by chance. People came because they genuinely wanted to welcome her home. Standing alongside those fans were some of the country's highest-ranking sports officials, including representatives from the Philippine Olympic Committee, the Philippine Sports Commission, and the Philippine Tennis Association. Their presence sent a powerful message. Alex wasn't simply returning as a successful athlete. She was returning as someone who had elevated Philippine sports onto one of the biggest stages in the world. But what happened the very next day made that message even stronger. Alex was invited to Malacanang Palace, where President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. personally honored her with a presidential citation recognizing her historic Wimbledon campaign. It wasn't just another award ceremony. It was an emotional acknowledgement that her achievements had inspired an entire nation. The president praised not only her victories but also the grace, humility, and determination she displayed while representing the Philippines. He spoke about the pride she had brought to millions of Filipinos watching from home. Alex's response revealed exactly why so many people had connected with her. Instead of talking about rankings or prize money, she reflected on the years of sacrifice that nobody ever saw. Endless hours of training, the difficult losses, the lonely travel, the pressure that came with carrying expectations. Hearing those words, she admitted, made every unseen sacrifice feel worthwhile. She explained that carrying the Philippine flag around the world had never felt like an obligation. It was something she genuinely loved doing. That sincerity only deepened the public's admiration. Yet the biggest emotional moment of her homecoming still hadn't happened. Because unlike ceremonies inside government halls, the next celebration belonged entirely to the people. By the evening of July 15th, Glorieta Activity Center had become almost unrecognizable. Every level overlooking the stage filled hours before the program even started. Families arrived early simply to secure a better view. Young tennis players carried homemade signs with Alex's name carefully painted across colorful poster boards. Others proudly wore Philippine flags over their shoulders like capes. Some fans had traveled from neighboring provinces just for a chance to see her in person. Nobody wanted to miss history. And when Alex finally appeared, the reaction was impossible to ignore. The roar from the crowd sounded more like the entrance of a championship fighter than a tennis player attending a fan event. The applause rolled through the mall in waves. People smiled, cried, laughed, and recorded every second because they knew this wasn't an ordinary evening. They wanted something to remember years later when people asked, "Were you there?" Looking around the venue, one thing became obvious. This wasn't about celebrity culture. It was about representation. Children stared at Alex because they suddenly believed a Filipino could compete with the world's greatest players. Parents saw proof that impossible dreams might actually be reachable. Older fans saw something they hadn't experienced in years, the feeling of watching one athlete unite an entire country. That emotion reminded many Filipinos of another sporting legend. For decades, Manny Pacquiao gave the nation unforgettable nights. Streets emptied during his biggest fights. Families crowded around a single television. Even one of the busiest highways in Metro Manila became noticeably quieter whenever he entered the ring because everyone wanted to witness history together. Nobody is claiming Alex has already matched Pacquiao's legacy. His achievements remain legendary. But something remarkably familiar has begun to appear. Not the titles. Not the records. The people. During Alex's Wimbledon run, thousands gathered at public viewing events across the Philippines. The Philippine Sports Commission and the MMDA opened PhilSports Arena so fans could watch her round of 16 match together. Gates opened hours before the first serve, yet supporters still lined up early just to guarantee a seat. Inside, every point Alex won triggered thunderous celebrations. Flags waved. Cheers erupted. Complete strangers celebrated together as though they had known each other for years. And it wasn't only happening in Metro Manila. Similar watch parties appeared across different provinces. Fans gathered in shopping malls, community venues, and public spaces, staying awake until nearly midnight because nobody wanted to experience those matches alone. They wanted to celebrate every winner together and suffer through every difficult moment together. That says something extraordinary. Basketball has long been the heartbeat of Philippine sports culture. Football commands global attention. Yet during those unforgettable Wimbledon nights, tennis became the country's biggest conversation. In some locations, Alex's matches attracted larger crowds than broadcasts of other major international sporting events taking place at the same time. Even overseas, the story continued. Wherever Alex competed, Filipino supporters appeared in remarkable numbers. Courts across Europe and the United States were suddenly decorated with Philippine flags. Tournament organizers noticed it too. Her matches consistently drew louder crowds and fuller stands because everyone understood one thing. Wherever Alex played, passionate Filipino fans would follow. But perhaps the most admirable part of this story is Alex's own perspective. Whenever comparisons with Manny Pacquiao surfaced, she consistently responded with humility. She insisted she was nowhere near his level and emphasized how much more she still hoped to accomplish. That humility only strengthened the connection people felt with her. Because while the country celebrated her achievements, Alex herself remained focused on improving, learning, and working harder. Maybe that's exactly why this movement has grown so quickly. It isn't built only on victories. It's built on authenticity. There is one final difference that makes Alex's homecoming especially meaningful. During Pacquiao's greatest moments, millions of Filipinos celebrated from thousands of miles away while he competed overseas. They experienced history through television screens. Alex gave fans something even more personal. They stood just a few feet away from her. They exchanged smiles. They received autographs. They took photos they will treasure for the rest of their lives. They didn't simply witness history. They became part of it. That's what made the Glorieta gathering so unforgettable. It wasn't just about celebrating a remarkable Wimbledon run. It was about welcoming home someone who reminded an entire generation that world-class dreams don't belong only to other countries. They can begin in the Philippines too. Only months earlier, Alex returned home as a rising star with limitless potential. This time, she returned carrying something much bigger. Belief. Belief that a Filipino can compete with anyone. Belief that impossible barriers are meant to be broken. Belief that the next historic moment may already be on the horizon. And judging by the thousands of voices echoing through Glorieta that night, one thing was unmistakably clear. The Wimbledon run wasn't the ending of Alex's story. It was only the beginning of something far greater, not just for her career, but for the future of Philippine tennis itself.